Good evening. Welcome to the Bulletin at 9. I'm Oinitam. First up, the headlines at this hour. COVID test for Assam teachers and professors made compulsory. Former world boxing champion Laishram Sarita Devi, husband test positive for COVID. Goa governor is now governor of Meghalaya, has been shifted thrice in just 2 years. And now the news in details. Earlier in the day today, Assam Health and Finance Minister Mr. Himanta Biswa Sharma had addressed a press conference. In that particular press conference, he made it very clear that every teacher, professor, or any other employee employed in any of the educational institutes will have to go in for COVID testing, and this has been made compulsory. They will have to go for the testing mandatorily and will have to report back to the places where they are employed, and this has to be done by September 1st. That's the picture from the press conference that he had addressed earlier in the day. This is one of the big announcements that came in that was made in today's press conference. So he made it very clear that anybody who is employed with any educational institution will have to go for the COVID test and report back to the institutes, and this has to be done by the 1st of September. Viewers, remember that the government is actually thinking of reopening schools and colleges by 1st of September. In fact, they have also set up a website where they have requested every stakeholder, parents, guardians, teachers, faculty members, everyone concerned to send in their suggestions and feedback about what they think, when should the schools and colleges be reopened, what are their thoughts on that, and what would they want, what would make them feel secure when the schools and colleges are reopened. All their suggestions should go in that website. In fact, the government has set up that particular facility for everybody to send in their suggestions and recommendations. The minister, while addressing the press conference, also said that the government will start handing over scooters to all those girl students who have secured first division marks during the state conducted class 12 examinations, and this is being done under the government's Pragyan Bharati scheme. That is one of the schemes of the state government, and in fact this was announced during the budget. This is one of the Assam government's budgetary announcements, and viewers remember the health minister had earlier in his press conference earlier last week had mentioned that till mid of September he will keep coming back to the media and he will keep announcing such schemes for the people of Assam. Earlier he had announced the taking off of the Arunodaya scheme, under which 830 rupees would be deposited to the account of households. This will happen every month. So a lot of announcements coming in from the Assam government. Also, just months away for the Assam Assembly elections to be held next year. So all preparations now, all eyes now there, and that is what the state government also is doing. Now, moving on to Manipur, former world boxing champion Laishram Sarita Devi and her husband Toiba Singh, they have tested positive for COVID. The samples of the 3-time world champion and 5-time Asian Games champion Sarita Devi and her husband were collected on Sunday, and it is on Monday that the reports came in positive. Now, the 38-year-old boxer and her husband, they are asymptomatic, and they have been shifted to the UNACCO COVID Care Center in Imphal West for further observation. In fact, earlier, Asian Games medalist Dinko Singh, who is also battling cancer since 2017, had also tested positive for COVID, but after treatment, he has now tested negative. In fact, he was in for COVID treatment for as long as 1 month, and now he is, of course, he continues to fight cancer, but at least he is out of the COVID danger. Meanwhile, let me just update our viewers here that Home Minister Amit Shah was rushed in to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi earlier in the day today, when he had complained of some uneasiness. Remember, he had just been cleared. He tested negative for COVID after having tested positive, and he was hospitalized at Medanta, that's a private hospital in Gurgaon. He was under treatment for COVID there, and then after he tested negative, he was discharged from Medanta Hospital in Gurugram. And in fact, today, earlier in the day, he complained of some uneasiness, and he was rushed to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, or AIMS, in New Delhi for post-COVID treatment. And of course, our former president, Pranab Mukherjee, his condition continues to remain critical. He continues to be on life support at the Army RNR hospital in New Delhi. Now, Goa Governor Satyapal Malik has now been made the governor of Meghalaya. This is his third move in 2 years. He has been shifted thrice within a span of just 2 years. Now, Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari has been given the additional charge of Goa. Satyapal Malik was appointed the Goa governor in October last year, and he was the governor of Jammu and Kashmir when its special status under Article 370 was scrapped, and it was divided into 2 union territories. 2 months later, Malik was shifted to Goa. He was the governor of Bihar before his 1-year term in Jammu and Kashmir. So, lot of postings as governor Satyapal Malik has seen, and now he will be the governor of Meghalaya. Meanwhile, in Assam, one of the drivers of who's working at Assam Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal's office has also tested positive for COVID. Mintu Sharma is 28 years old. He is one of the drivers at the Chief Minister's office in Guwahati. He had tested positive in his hometown of Mangaldoy. According to the health department sources, Sharma, he was down with fever, and thankfully enough, at least for now, his wife and his child, they have tested negative, but Mintu tested positive for COVID. Now, let me quickly run you through the latest update as far as the COVID cases from across northeastern states are concerned before I move on to other stories from the region. The number of COVID-19 cases in Mizoram has already crossed the 800 mark. 26 more people, including 4 border security force personnel, have tested positive for the virus. Mizoram, remember, is under total lockdown till August 21st. The lockdown began on midnight of Sunday. In fact, during this period, the government has decided to go forward and do random testing and launch a massive contact tracing exercise. Why they are doing this is because on Sunday, the state saw the single highest spike. 64 cases, positive cases, were reported from in Mizoram itself, 50 of them from Aizawl and 14 from Kolasib district. That was the trigger. That is when the government decided to go ahead for a total lockdown for 4 days till August 21st early morning. Now, despite being under lockdown, the number of cases continue to rise in Mizoram. Moving to Meghalaya, 39 new positive cases have been reported from that particular state, and the total number of active cases in Meghalaya now stands at 766. 65 more persons have tested positive for COVID. taking the tally in Nagaland. The number of total cases in Nagaland has gone up to 3,520 with 65 more people testing positive for COVID. Now, Manipur, at least 118 people, including 24 security personnel, have tested positive for the virus. Now, the state's tally stands at 4,687. The tally in Tripura has gone up to 7,222. There too, in fact, the number of deaths also have gone up and now stands at 62. Of course, Assam continues to top the charts among the northeastern states. The total number of positive cases in Assam stands at 79,666, and the number of deaths have gone up to 197. Arunachal Pradesh, the total tally stands at 2,741, and the number of recovered people stands at 1,893. Now, that is as far as the COVID situation in the states of the northeastern states is concerned. Of course, these are numbers from the last 24 hours. Now, moving on to a few of our exclusive stories. The Education Department of Assam, as well as the Municipal Corporation of Guwahati, in fact, the government as a whole, the different arms of the government, the authorities here, the district administration, they all decided to act tough on all the private schools, the educational institutes like coaching classes and all, the coaching institutes. They decided to act tough on all of these and decided to go ahead and inspect, see if all these educational institutes who have been functioning, some for almost as long as 12 years, whether they have the necessary licenses, whether they have been paying the necessary taxes, whether they have the necessary clearances from the government authorities, from the concerned authorities. So therefore, the Municipal Corporation of Guwahati has started inspection of the educational institutes, and my colleague Pankaj Medhi actually went out with the team today to get us this exclusive report. Several private schools operating without license or clearances from the concerned authorities. Some private schools, coaching centers have been running without any approval for the past 10 to 12 years. But now the government has decided to crack the whip. A team of inspectors have started visiting all private educational institutes, checking if these establishments have the necessary papers or not.
Mainly school, private school bilak, coaching center bilak, আমি ইনস্পেকশনত গৈ আছো। আমাৰ অকণ ভিউ ছাৰ আছে, সিনিয়ৰ মেডিকেল অফিচাৰ আছে। সময় গতিকে আমাৰ আজি হয়তো অসুবিধা কাৰণে আহিব নোৱাৰিলে, আমাৰ কালেক্টৰ ছাৰো থাকে। গোটেইবিলাক স্কুলত আমি ইনস্পেকশনত গৈ আছো। কিছুমান আমি অলৰেডি ৰিনিউৱেল কৰিছোঁ, কিছুমান পেণ্ডিং আছে, তেওঁলোকৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত আমি নটিছ চাৰ্ভ কৰিছোঁ আৰু 7 দিন সময় দিয়া হৈছে। তেওঁলোকে কিছুমানে ৰেছপন্স দিছে, আহিছে, ডকুমেণ্ট ছাবমিট কৰিছে, আৰু কিছুমানে হয়তো কিবা অসুবিধা হ'লে হয়তো দিব পাৰে, কিন্তু তেওঁলোকে আহিবলৈ মানে কথা দিছে আৰু ঠিক তেনেকুৱা টাইপত আমি গোটেইখিনি ইনস্পেকশ্যন কৰি আছোঁ। কিন্তু আমি সেইকাৰণে এতিয়া মানে এনেকুৱা এটা টাইপত গৈছোঁ যে কোনো এখন স্কুল আমি এৰিব পৰা নাই বা এৰি নিদিওঁ। তেওঁলোকৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত আমি আমাৰ যিহেতু নিয়ম আছে, আমাৰ গভৰ্ণমেণ্টৰ এখন অৰ্ডাৰ আছে, আমাৰ স্কুলৰ অৰ্ডাৰ আছে, কমিশ্যনাৰ ছাৰে দিয়া অৰ্ডাৰ আছে, সেই অৰ্ডাৰৰ ওপৰত ভিত্তি কৰি আমি গোটেইখিনি স্কুলৰে আমি লাইচেঞ্চ দিয়াৰ ব্যৱস্থা আমি নটিচ কৰিছোঁ আৰু তেওঁলোকে কি কি ডকুমেণ্ট দিব লাগে আমি তেওঁলোকক এইটো বস্তু বুজাই দিছোঁ আৰু তেনেকৈ ডকুমেণ্টছবিলাক তেওঁলোকে আনি কিছুমানে জমা দিছে আৰু বাকীবিলাকে যোগাৰ কৰি আছে, হয়তো 2 দিনৰ ভিতৰত তেওঁলোকে এইখিনি জমা দিব দিয়া হ'ল। মোটামুটি 10খনমানৰ ভিতৰত হ'ব আৰু কিছুমানৰ লাইচেঞ্চ আছে, তেওঁলোকৰ ৰিনিউৱেলো হৈ আছে আৰু তেওঁলোকে নটিচ কৰিছোঁ আমি। নটিচ কৰিলে 3 দিন সময়, এসপ্তাহ সময় দিছোঁ। এসপ্তাহ সময়ৰ পিছত যদি তেওঁলোকে কোনো ৰেছপন্স দিলে, নেক্সট টাইম আমি আকৌ 3 দিনৰ কাৰণে আমি নটিচ কৰিম। তাৰপিছত আমাৰ কাৰ্য ব্যৱস্থা এনেকুৱা হ'ব যে আমি এইবিলাক চিল কৰাৰ ব্যৱস্থা কৰিম আৰু GMC এক্টৰ অধীনত। ভেটেনেৰি ডিপাৰ্টমেণ্ট, তাৰপিছত আমাৰ হেল্থ ডিপাৰ্টমেণ্ট, তাৰপিছত আমাৰ এতিয়া ডিভিজনেল যিবিলাক জোন আছে, আমাৰ জোনেল অফিচাৰ, জোনেল ষ্টাফ, গোটেইখিনি লগ হৈ পেলাই মানে যৌথভাৱে আমি ইনস্পেকশ্যনত গৈ আছোঁ আৰু তেনেকুৱা হৈছে এতিয়ালৈকে পোৱা নাই এখনৰ নামত চলোৱাটো। যদি ক'ৰবাত আছে আমাৰ হেৰিয়াত কৰা নাই, তথাপি ইনস্পেকশ্যনত গৈ আছোঁ, নিশ্চয় ক'ৰবাত যদি তেনেকুৱা আছে আমি ধৰা পৰিলে আমি সেইমতে কাৰ্য ব্যৱস্থা হাতত ল'ম।
The team of inspectors includes a senior medical officer and officers from the municipal corporation. They have issued notices to all those establishments who have either not got the necessary license or the clearances and has not paid necessary taxes.
অকল গুৱাহাটীতে নহয় সকলো ঠাইতে কাঠফুলাৰ দৰে প্ৰাইভেট স্কুলবিলাক ব্যক্তিগত স্কুলবিলাক গঢ়ি উঠিছে তেওঁলোকৰ কোনো ট্ৰেড লাইচেঞ্চ লোৱা নাই ফায়াৰ লাইচেঞ্চ নাই কাৰোবাৰ আপোনাৰ প্ৰপাৰ্টি লাইচেঞ্চ প্ৰপাৰ্টি টেক্স দিয়া নাই টাইম সময়ত আমি এফালৰ পৰা চব স্কুলবিলাক আমি দুমাহ ধৰা কাৰ্যসূচী লৈছোঁ গোটেইবিলাক আমি এতিয়া ইনস্পেকশ্যন কৰি আছোঁ আৰু এনেকুৱা আছে যে 1976 চনতে এষ্টাব্লিছ হৈছে কিন্তু আজিলৈকে তেওঁলোকৰ ট্ৰেড লাইচেঞ্চ নাই ফায়াৰ লাইচেঞ্চ নাই প্ৰপাৰ্টি টেক্স দিয়া নাই তেওঁলোকে ব্যক্তিগত স্কুলবিলাক ট্ৰাষ্টৰ নামত ৰাখি থৈ দিছে NGO নামত ৰাখি থৈ দিছে ছ'চাইটিৰ নামত তেনেকুৱাকৈ কৰিছে গতিকে তেওঁলোকক আমি বহুতকেইখনক ইতিমধ্যে ফাইন কৰিছোঁ আৰু ফাইন কৰি থাকিম আৰু তেওঁলোকক আমি সোনকালে ন'টিছ চাৰ্ভ কৰি দি দিছোঁ এসপ্তাহৰ ভিতৰত যদি তেওঁলোকে সেইটো উত্তৰ নিদিয়ে বা ট্ৰেড লাইচেঞ্চ প্ৰপাৰ্টি টেক্স বা যিবিলাক ৰিলেটেড ডকুমেণ্ট ফায়াৰ লাইচেঞ্চ এইবিলাক নাথাকে ছাবমিট কৰিব নোৱাৰে আমাৰ যিখন মিউনিচিপালিটিৰ এক্ট আছে 1971 এই এক্ট অনুসৰি আমি বিহিত ব্যৱস্থা গ্ৰহণ কৰিম
In case they fail to get the clearances and pay taxes within the stipulated time frame, action as per the law would be initiated. The exercise is to clean up the education system.
Well, as you heard, many of the notices have been served to many of the schools and educational institutes running without proper licenses, without proper approvals from the concerned authorities. Many of them not even paying their taxes, many of them running under the garb of being NGO or a society, evading taxes, and also many of the institutes have been fined. Now, another story, we have been highlighting many of the causes, the concerns of the people of the state, people in distress. Now, this next story that we are going to bring to you now shows the plight of the idol makers of Assam. Now, the government has not yet given the go-ahead for pujas, large religious gatherings. Therefore, these idol makers are going through really tough times. Financially, they are facing a lot of trouble. No skill sets to fall back on, no other livelihood options they know. Therefore, they are facing real tough times. It's Ganesh Chaturthi, just a few days to go for Ganesh Chaturthi. Obviously, no orders coming. Every festival, every puja has become absolutely low-key because of the pandemic. All that these idol makers are looking forward or hoping for is some help from the government. Here is this special story.
All the stuff lying idle. Just few days to go for Ganesh Puja. But these idol makers sitting idle.
এই বছৰ অৰ্ডাৰ একেবাৰেই নাই মানুহে পূজা পাতিবলৈ ভয় পায় বিভিন্ন চেনেলৰ জৰিয়তে দেখায় যে ধৰ্মীয় অনুষ্ঠানটো মানে বৰ্জন কৰিছে সেইকাৰণে আমাৰ এই বছৰ একদম পুৰা মূৰ্তি বনোৱা মানে মাৰ্চলৈকে একদম বহি আছে এতিয়ালৈকে অহা 22 তাৰিখে গণেশ পূজা কিন্তু এটা অৰ্ডাৰ নাই দুৰ্গা পূজা হ'ব না নাইব এইটো কোনো ঠিকানা নাই আমি কি ভৰসাত মূৰ্তি বনাম যদি অৰ্ডাৰেই নাথাকে মই কেনেকুৱাকৈ বনাম চৰকাৰতে একো মানে আমাৰ এই প্ৰতিষ্ঠানৰ যিবিলাক মানুহ আছে তেখেতৰ কাৰণে চৰকাৰে একো ভবা নাই এইটোই কৈছোঁ চৰকাৰক যে আমাৰ পালে অকণমান চাই যে আমি এই গোটেই অসমত যিমানবিলাক আমাৰ মূৰ্তি বনোৱা মানুহ আছে আমাৰ লগত হাজাৰ হাজাৰ মানুহ জড়িত আছে খালি অকল মানে মূৰ্তিৰ লগত জড়িত নাই হাজাৰ হাজাৰ লগত মানুহ জড়িত আছে এই কাৰণে আপোনালোকে এটা চাব যে এই মূৰ্তি বনোৱা মানুহবিলাকে কি কৰিব আমাৰ পূজা শেষ হৈ গ'লে আমাৰতো কাৰবাৰ এনে বন্ধ হৈ যায় 6 মাহ কাম থাকে 6 মাহ বহি থাকে এই বছৰটো মানে ধৰি লওক আমাৰ গোটেই বছৰটো বহি থকা লগা হৈছে আমাৰ বেলেগ একো ব্যৱস্থা নাই যে মই বেলেগ এটা ব্যৱস্থা কৰিম আমাৰ এটাই ব্যৱস্থা এইটো কৰি আমি আমাৰ পৰিয়াল চলাওঁ সেইকাৰণে আমি চৰকাৰৰ একটা বিশেষভাৱে বিনম্ৰ অনুৰোধ কৰিছোঁ যে আমাৰ ফালে যাতে কিবা এটা ভাবি চিন্তি এটা ভাল যুক্তি দিয়ে
Large gatherings and number of COVID cases are rising. As such, every puja, every festival has become low-key due to COVID pandemic. With no large-scale puja celebrations happening, these idol makers are facing tough times. They do not have any other skill set to earn a living. The future looks equally bleak because there is very little chance of Durga Puja celebrations being held in the grand manner as it always has been. All that these idol makers are now hoping for is some help from the government.
Every sector terribly hard hit by the COVID pandemic. We have been bringing you all the stories. We have been highlighting the stress that every sector has been facing of late. Now, that's all I have as far as news is concerned. But news and updates continue on sentinelassam.com, and also find all our stories and videos on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But before I say goodbye to you, here's a video that you would really love. It's about MSD, Mahinder Singh Dhoni, Mahi. In fact, Dhoni had just announced his retirement from international cricket. Uh, I'm sure all of you remember that he had also served with the Indian Army in Kashmir as an honorary lieutenant colonel in the territorial army unit of the Parachute Regiment 106 Para TA Battalion. In fact, Dhoni had also fulfilled his patrolling duties for about 15 days in Kashmir in 2019. Dhoni served as part of the Victor Force and undertook guard and post duty as well. Dhoni was awarded the honor by the Indian Army in 2011. I'm leaving you with this wonderful video where, in fact, as part of the Indian Army, he had also completed 5 parachute training courses